Welcome to day 15 of my journal. Today I wanted to read a older journal passage that I wrote about a year ago. It has to do with new experiences and how we like to avoid that. So I'm going to read it verbatim right now just to start, then I'll talk about it, and then I'll talk about the scientific reasons why what I'm talking about is important to push through and how we can increase novelty in our lives. So, to start, novelty can be discomforting, but it is a true gift to humanity. Through exposure to new environments, we develop a deeper understanding of the universe and our place in it. Our brain's innate tendency to avoid pain often causes us to resist change and cling to the familiar. However, this craving for comfort can stifle our curiosity and creativity, ultimately hindering our ability to problem solve and innovate in relationships, businesses, and life. By embracing new experiences, we can ignite our intellect and broaden our capacity to navigate the complexities of the world we inhabit. Complacency and stagnation are easy traps to fall into, but they can severely inhibit our personal and collective growth, preventing us from truly thriving and reaching our potential. So, what I was thinking about while I was writing this is how adverse I was to the idea of new things. I noticed my brain was really struggling. Anytime something new would come around, it was uncomfortable. And when I was younger, and still today, I still struggle when new things come around because I have to play with things that can confront my worldviews or my knowledge or lack of knowledge. And that can be uncomfortable. And it is uncomfortable. A mind shift that I took that helped me get accustomed to this process is to view it as an area for growth. Every time I don't know something, every time I get a new experience, that's a chance to grow. It's a chance to learn something, to meet someone new. It's a chance to better understand this world that I'm trying to go through. But it still is uncomfortable. And that's because our evolution has led us to be uncomfortable with new, because the rustling in the bushes could just be the wind, but it could be a mountain lion trying to eat us. We can't take that chance, so we are somewhat adverse to new things right off the get-go. Our brains see new, and if they don't know, they have to come up with something, and new typically means dangerous, because that is what that meant back when we were evolving, and that lizard brain takes control when something new comes around. But if we can take that process and throw it back into the front of our minds and have conscious thought, we can rewrite that initial code that tells us to be afraid of new and afraid of novelty. And what we can do is we can rewrite that underlying code to get excited. Excitement and fear are very similar physiological responses. Our bodies have very similar responses when we are excited or if we are fearful. There's high energy. We start breathing faster, our heart races. That's just an intense high energy emotion. But a reframe allows us to back off the fear and word it as excited. Obviously, this is not to say that there are not things we should be wary of or afraid of if it's new. We should learn about it. But don't let something being new scare us from learning about it. There is a tendency that I have, and I think everyone else has, that when something's new, our initial reaction is to be afraid or to try to dismiss it, rather than sit with the discomfort of us not knowing about something. I know that there is so much that I don't know in this world. And every time a new piece of information comes up, my gut reaction is to deny it because it doesn't fit within my framework. But as I sit and think about the new information and see what framework I could fit that new piece of info in, or if there's holes in my framework of the world, maybe I can patch that hole with that new information. I might not, but if I kill it right off the bat and I don't think about it, I will miss out on a lot of opportunities for learning and growth, and that's not something I want to do. We crave that comfort of thinking we know how the world works always, but it stifles our curiosity and our creativity. And if we're trying to do something that we have never done before, why would we push away those ideas that might help us with that? We shouldn't. We shouldn't do that. But that is our first tendency. So you have to be aware that that is going to be your gut reaction. Your gut reaction is going to be a fear response. You need to do the work to reframe it as curiosity. This is a chance to learn. Let's see what I can learn from this new experience. And make sure you give yourself new experiences. We love habits. We love to stick to what we know. But it hurts us. And if we quit growing, we start dying. And there is science to back this. New experiences pushes our brains to have to keep rewriting and rewiring itself so that the framework that we have of our world takes in that new information and rewires those pathways to include that information. There's actual science behind this, and the link down below will tell you about it. It'll show you the studies where a novel environment will push your brain to create more gray matter in your hippocampus. That is nerd speak and medical speak for your brain will create new connections in the part of the brain that memory, speech, language is all stored. And that's where you are building new connections and new neurons. That'll make a healthier brain, that'll make a better memory, it will have great effects on your cognitive function, all because you're in a new environment that you have to learn. So if you have a somewhat new experience that you chose to have, and you look at it as a learning opportunity, you can actually grow parts of your brain that will help it function better. That's pretty cool, at least to me. I think that's a good thing going forward as we age, because we will have to be contending with Alzheimer's and dementia and all sorts of problems that come into our brain as we get older. And this helps fight that. That actively helps fight that. If we can have these new experiences late into our lives, our brains will keep functioning at a much higher level than if we stop having new experiences and we're afraid of novelty. If we are not afraid of novelty and we look at it as a new opportunity to learn something and to grow as a person, our brains will actually rewire themselves to be healthier, stronger, and more efficient and more powerful. Going into later ages, that's a good thing. That's going to be a superpower. I understand being fearful, but you have to pull that response back into reality. Obviously, have some wisdom about when to do this, but new experiences push you to grow, and you will learn. And it is something that grows your brain and protects your brain. And you will also be more creative, more efficient, better communicator, just because of these new experiences. So rewrite that. Reframe that fear response into excitement for the opportunity laid at your feet. And try to find those opportunities. I will link down in the description to that study if you want to go check it out. It's an interesting read. And I think it points to the fact that new experiences keeps us younger and keeps us functioning at our peak level for much longer. So go try to have a little bit of a new experience today and get out of your normal habits. Just push those boundaries just a little bit. Push to that discomfort just a little bit. Go pick up a new hobby. Try something new. Take a different route home. Go for a walk in a different part of town than you're used to. Watch a different show than you're used to. Learn something. Teach something to someone. Try to find a new experience today than you are used to having. And I know long term you will see benefits to this. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tell someone you love them today. That's my challenge.